Before heading to the video, if you haven't subscribed the channel, do subscribe it and don't forget to click the bell icon for the latest update notification. If you like the video, do like, comment and share. Stay tuned with learnway.co. Happy learning!
Next day. So very easy algorithm, and again based on some of the few past concepts which we have used. It is a classification algorithm, and it is a supervised classification. Okay, so basically a few of the discussions. So instance based classifiers. So what are instance based classifiers? Basically they store the training record, use training records to predict the class label of unseen cases. So you have a data set available where you have the classes available of the data, like class A, class B, class C, and then finally it does the classification from the CSV file it see, and on the basis of the features it match them and it do the predictions. So those are called as instance based classifiers. Now another type of classifiers are rote learners and nearest neighbor. So rote learners are basically memorizing the entire training data and performs classification only if attributes of record match one of the training example exactly. Now another type of classifiers are nearest neighbor classifier. So they use k closest points nearest neighbor for performing the classification. So let's see what happens. So basic idea is, if it walks like duck, quacks like a duck, then it is probably a duck. So basically this is a some simple fundamental to understand the nearest neighbor classification. So I'll directly go on to an example and I'll show you. So basically what happens, suppose this is your scatter plot. Here classes are spreaded. Now you have to detect the record unknown class for the unknown record. So now what it does, it will check what is the class of the nearest neighbors, and that class it will be assigning to this particular thing. So for example, a simple thing. So suppose this is your data. Okay, and now these are your features. So for example, this is for example height, or this is for example weight of a particular entity. So now suppose you got one point which is unknown. Now you have to identify the class of this particular point. Now what I'll do, I'll check for the nearest neighbor. So all these are the nearest neighbor for this particular point, and all the nearest neighbor are having the class as plus. So the final class assigned for this particular neighbor will be plus. So similarly, if I will be getting a point somewhere here, now what will happen, nearest neighbor is minus, so the final class assigned will be minus. It is as simple as that. So this is why the name has been given as k nearest neighbor algorithm. Okay, now again I'll go back. So requires three things: the set of stored records, distance matrix to compute the distance between the records, the nearest value, the value of k, the number of nearest neighbor to retrieve. Now here problem is, one of the problem is, first you have to find out the nearest neighbor. So now nearest neighbor, if you have to identify it, then what can be done here in this case? We can use the distance algorithm. So which distance algorithm we will be going to use here to find out the nearest neighbors? Yes.
Distance.
So you can use Euclidean distance here, simply as we have used into the clustering algorithm. Similarly, you can use here as well. So Euclidean distance will give you the nearest neighbors, and the neighbors which are having the nearest one will be classified as a one record. Now another question here is how many nearest neighbor you want to consider. So that is basically called as value of k. So 3 nearest neighbor, 4 nearest neighbor, 5 nearest neighbor. So now value of k also we have to decide. So that value of k we decide on the basis of hit and try, which I will show you into the code. So on the basis of accuracy we need to decide what should be the optimal value of k. Now to classify an unknown record, compute distance to other training records, identify k nearest neighbors, use class label of nearest neighbor to determine the class label of the unknown record, example by taking majority vote. Now this is one illustration. So one nearest neighbor. So suppose you have taken k is equal to value 1 and you want to predict the class of this particular x. So if you are taking k is equal to 1, then class will be negative. If you are taking k is equal to 2, then 1 negative and 1 positive coming. Now if you will increase, then the final class will be positive for this particular record. So now here there is a problem. K nearest neighbor of a record X are data points that have the k smallest distance to X. So now problem is, if you will be only taking one nearest neighbor, the problem might be you might be taking the noise or something, for example. Okay, so basically what happens, the point here is, suppose this is the point and this is negative, but actually all the data is positive. Okay, and this is negative. Now if you will take only one nearest neighbor, there is a chance that this is now noise, this is a noise. Okay, now chances that it will cover the noise and it will give the wrong predictions to you. So we try to avoid k is equal to 1 value. Now another problem is, if you will be keep on increasing the value of k. So for example, suppose this. Now if you will be keep on increasing the value of k, then what will happen, it will take the outside of the border available classes. For example, I'll show you just one thing. So for example, this example, in this what happens, if k is too small, it is sensitive to the noise points. If k is too large, neighborhood may include points from the other classes. So actual class of this X should be plus, but because you have taken k as very large number, now the class will be misclassified and it will predict for this one as a minus. So you have to find out the proper number for the k, optimal value of k, on which you will be able to get the correct predictions. Okay, now one nearest neighbor. So this is a Voronoi diagram. So Voronoi diagram is nothing but it is a representation of multi-dimensional data. So I have added for showing purpose. So like in multi-dimensional area, more than 3 dimension, this is how your points looks like. So this has been given by a scientist Voronoi, called as Voronoi diagram. For showing purpose, I have taken it here. Okay, so all these lines which you are seeing, all these are representing the dimensions. Okay, so that is a Voronoi diagram, not much of use, just for showing purpose I have included here. Now nearest neighbor classification, you have to compute the distance between the 2 points. So we will be computing via the Euclidean distance. We have already discussed about Euclidean distance, how it works. So some under root of summation ti minus qi whole square. So determine the class from the nearest neighbor list, take the majority vote of class labels among the k nearest neighbor, and then accordingly on the basis of distance you can find out the class of a unknown record. So this we have discussed. Now nearest neighbor classification, scaling issues. So again, because we will be going to use a scale distance algorithm, you have to use the scaling. So you have to do the z-score based scaling, normalization or standardization onto the data before running the k nearest neighbor algorithm. So it is required. Okay, if your data contains the data within different variable ranges. Okay, so scaling is required. Again, it is data calculation. Okay, so k nearest neighbor classifiers are called as lazy learners. It does not build model explicitly, unlike eager learners such as decision tree, induction and rule based systems. So this I will clear you what it is trying to say here. Now what happens? Now what happens here, whenever a new record will come, training will happen. So for example, suppose this is my data set. Okay, so this is my data set. Now what happens, suppose this is a feature called as height and this is a feature called as weight. Now suppose a new record came, suppose Utkarsh came as a new record, one customer. So his height is 5 and his weight is suppose 20. Now what happens, here on these axes you have to map this particular point. So this particular point is probably lying somewhere here on the basis of features. After this Euclidean distance calculation will happen, and after this it will take 3 nearest neighbor and it will tell what is the final class for this particular record. Now what happens here, every time a new record will come, here training will happen. Suppose now new record came. So again what it has to do, it has to map Girish somewhere into this particular data. Suppose Girish is lying here and now nearest 3 neighbors are this, final class will be again negative. Okay, so now that is why these kind of classifiers, k nearest neighbor classifiers, are called as lazy learner. Why they are called as lazy learner? Each time at the time of prediction, when you will be passing the test data or you will be passing a new data, it will be keep on running the model to adjust to fit this particular data point into the multi-dimensional area. So that is why this algorithm we recommend not to use until and unless it is needed. Now in which cases it is used, this will be I will be explaining you in tomorrow's class when we will be studying the SVM. So now most of the time k nearest neighbor algorithms are getting used into the calculations when we do into the text analytics, text classification. You can use also into the numerical classification, but the problem is they will be lazy learners, they will take a lot of time, and k nearest neighbors are computationally expensive algorithms as compared to other classification algorithms, but they are very easy to understand and very easy. It is very easier for them to calculate, and sometimes it gives a lot of good and higher accuracy on the basis of data set. So basically this is all about the funda behind the k nearest neighbor, how it does the classification. So any questions till here from anyone?
Girish,
Yes.
So lazy learner is basically when the model needs to be rerun for every new value.
Yeah, whenever new value will come, it has to rerun from the scratch.
For eager learner like decision tree, it is not there.
So what happens into the decision tree? Decision tree, you have built up one particular tree. Okay. Now what will happen whenever Girish will come, I'll pass him into the system. Tree is already built on the basis of features. You will be finally going into one particular class, green node or a red node. So you don't have to run the model. Model has been already built, right? Model has been already built via calculating the Gini gain and everything. Now when new observation will come, it will just flow through the model. But here what it has to do, it has to first map Girish or Utkarsh into the data set, and then it has to do the calculation again to find out the nearest neighbor, and then it will be able to do the classification. Here classification is already done. It is just in which particular node you will be lying. That is the difference.
Right.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, so this is one of the easy algorithm. Now what I'll do, it is this much only. So this is the only funda about this algorithm. Now I will take you through the code and I will tell you how to find out the optimal value of k in case of k nearest neighbor algorithm. Now here I am taking 3 classes. Till now we have seen 2 classes only, 0, 1, 0, 1. Now here I will be showing you 3 classes. Okay, one more class will be added. So now this is a famous data set called as IRIS dataset. So IRIS dataset has been created by Ronald J. Fisher, who was a great statistician in 1960s. So what he has done, he has taken 3 types of flowers. Okay, so there were 3 types of flowers available, Setosa and Virginica. These are the botanical name, and something called as versicolor, I think. Okay, so 3 types of flowers were available. So what he did, he has noted down for each of the flower, the petal is there. So he has noted down the petal length and petal width. Okay, and similarly 4 features are there: petal width, petal length and petal width, and then sepal is also one thing available into your flower, sepal length and sepal width. So what he wanted to do, he was trying to find out, can I make a decision for finding out a particular flower will be belonging into a particular class on the basis of their petal length, petal width, sepal length and sepal width. So what he has done, he has manually collected this data. He has manually, by the scale, he has measured the length of the flowers for each type, and he has mentioned into the data set that if a particular flower belongs to Setosa, then sepal length is 5.1, 3.5, 1.4. If a particular flower belongs to Virginica, then what all are the features? So similarly, it has calculated for 3 types of flower, and then he ran his machine learning algorithm. If tomorrow, if somebody will come and will give me sepal length, sepal width, petal width, will I be able to find out correctly in which particular class it is getting classified or not? So that is the data set, one of the classical data set available into data science domain called as IRIS dataset. So IRIS dataset, everybody is supposed to know, because one of the famous and most used dataset for learning purpose, so in academics. So Now, so you have these features available: sepal length, sepal width, petal length, and petal width, and the classes available for them. So there are 3 classes available here: setosa, virginica, and versicolor. So now simply we are doing the train and test split X and Y, and after that finally what we are doing, we are splitting our data into training and testing 80:20. After doing this, we are doing the standardization of our data. No need to explain it, self-explanatory. We have discussed this multiple times. Now we are making a K nearest neighbor algorithm. So it is available into sklearn library, and here into the classifier right now I have passed n neighbors is equal to 5. So for predicting a particular class, you should use 5 neighbors, and I am doing X train and Y train. So right now I have passed 5 neighbors, but I'll show you how to find out this. And when with this I have trained my model into X train and Y train data, and now I am doing the prediction on the X test data. So testing data on 20% I am doing the prediction, and my accuracy is coming, only one misclassification happened. So this is for 3 classes. So 13, 7, 9, everything is 0 apart from this. So only one misclassification happened. So overall very good accuracy I am getting. Now this is your model part, easier. Now how to find out the optimal value of K, that's what I will show you. So basically what I'm doing, I'm plotting the K values 0, 5, 10, 15. So these are number of K, number of neighbors, and what is the error. Error is how accuracy, 1 minus accuracy will give you the error. So basically here what I'm doing, for I in range of 1 to 40. So I'm telling my model try into the range of 1 to 40. So K nearest neighbor classifier, n neighbors is equal to I, fit X train, Y train, and then predict the test accuracy. And then finally I'm plotting this particular graph with respect to accuracy and K value. So as I am keep on increasing the number of K, once what happened at K is equal to 3, I got high error. Then my error became mostly constant, and finally after K is equal to 23, 22, it has again hit onto the top. So you have to find out wherever you are getting the least error or almost constant error. So basically this is the area where I am getting constant error. Okay, least and constant error, by the way. Okay, not constant, least and constant error. So now what happens, K is equal to 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, this might be a overfitting situation, so this kind of point you should avoid. So either of these points you can take as a number of neighbors, nearest neighbor as I. Now whichever point you will be taking, you will be getting the same accuracy. So this graph will help you to decide which is the optimal number of K you have to take. Now in this graph, if I have to select any number of neighbor, which one I will be taking?
10,
Huh?
10 to 15,
No, 8.
15.
Okay. No, one you have to tell me. You will be taking all of them or only one?
15, 1.
15. And other people, what are your opinions? Yes, Abhilash, Prakash,
5 to
Surendra.
20.
No, one you can take, not 5 to 20, right? You can pass only one value into nearest neighbor. So which one finally will be taking?
So I will take 5.
Okay. So whoever is telling 5, why you are taking 5? Why not 15 or 20 or 12 or 13?
Because I can see the constant rate at that point.
So, but what is the problem? 10 and 15 is also right answer. Okay, I will be getting the same accuracy, correct? So why you will be going with 5 only, not with 15 or 20?
Because
Computation
as I
power.
increase the
will
K value, the training time might increase.
Yes, correct answer. So as you will be taking, because now what happens if you will be taking K is equal to 15. Now what will happen, 15 times Euclidean distance calculation will happen. 15 nearest neighbor it will try to take, and it will do the voting and calculation. So better as less as you can take, that one you have to decide and select. So even if you will take 20, your errors will not be changing, but model running time will increase. Anyways, we have seen into the theory that KNN is anyways computationally expensive. So let's let's not try to make it more expensive by selecting a higher value of k, if we are able to get the same results with the lesser value of k. So this is all about your k nearest neighbor algorithm. In my system, I don't know why it is printing 3 times, but for you it should print only 1 time. So this is a graph which will help you to identify the optimal values of k. So this is all about your k nearest neighbor algorithm. Any questions, please ask.
What is this matrix Minkowski?
So matrix Minkowski is basically your distance calculation. So basically internally by default it is using Minkowski, but you can write Euclidean also. If you will write here Euclidean, it will calculate the Euclidean distances. So I told you there are hundreds of types of distance algos are available, like Mahalanobis, Manhattan, Chebyshev, Euclidean, Jaro-Winkler, Levenshtein. So you can mention here whichever format you want to calculate. So you can always mention here, comma, matrix is equal to Euclidean. It will do the Euclidean calculations. So any questions with respect to anything? So this is all about your k nearest neighbor, easy algorithm, one of the most easiest algorithm. So generally the questions which come on k nearest neighbor is, what is the difference between k means and k nearest neighbor algorithm, and how k nearest neighbor algorithm works, and another thing is what are the pros and cons of k nearest neighbor algorithm. So pros I will be able to explain when we will be discussing SVM. Cons I have already told you, computationally expensive algorithm. So this is all about k nearest neighbor, very simple and sweet and small algo. Any questions from anybody? Please ask.
So, Utkarsh, one question. Can we use this algorithm if we have the data set is very large and the variables are very high?
Yes, you can use it definitely, but model training time will increase. So for example, probably if you will be using decision tree, you will be able to get the output in half an hour. If you will be using this one, probably it will take 1.5 hours to train, but it doesn't mean that you cannot use, you can definitely use.
Okay, thank you.
So one question to all of you. Now think and tell me which classification algorithm is computationally expensive, you think? Decision tree, k nearest neighbor, what logistic regression, random forest. So these four algorithms we have seen till now. So can you tell me the order of the computational expensiveness for these algorithms? So for example,
First one would be KNN, I think.
so we have something called as decision tree. We have studied random forest. Okay, and then we have studied k nearest neighbor, and then we have seen logistic regression. Okay, so yes, so which is computationally expensive, which I should mark first as most computationally expensive?
Random forest.
KNN is the right answer. Second?
Random forest.
Third?
Decision tree.
Third, logistic.
Third is decision tree. Because what happens in logistic regression, in one shot your weight calculation will happen because of regression equation. So most computationally expensive algorithms are these two, random forest and k nearest neighbor, and these we are even not comparing, these are just simple normal algorithms. So if you will talk about computational expensiveness, random forest is the most computationally expensive algorithm. Apart from that, this we talks about classification. Overall, if you will talk about clustering is also a very computationally expensive algorithm. Okay, it also does lot of computations internally for calculating the that is steps. If you remember, step 1 to 5. So lot of calculations happen. So this is also a computationally expensive algorithm. So that is how we decide. So this is all about your k nearest neighbors. So if we all are okay, then I will start principal component analysis, which is not a machine learning algorithm but a dimension reduction technique, because we have time.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
sure. So I'll just close this and